And George Orwell, a.k.a. Eric Blair, or vice versa, you know, he wrote about destroying the language, reducing it down to where basically humans just make noise, you know, 5 or 6 noises like a chimpanzee or like a cow. And now I see the studies out all over the world. The language is shrinking. People can't communicate. They take it as threatening if you can form complex ideas. But I don't think humanity is irrevocably broken. But when you say something like, you know, a classical liberal, the average dumbed-down mainline conservative, who isn't conservative at all, they love the big defense budgets, they love it all, they think that means you're saying you're a communist, when a classical liberal is the opposite, aren't they?
There's no word left that hasn't been polluted by statism through which you can describe yourself as a freedom lover. So if you say, well, I'm a pacifist in that I oppose the initiation of force, then people think that you just want to lie down and have people go through your pockets and you're not in self-defense. So you can't use that. You can't use anarchist because then people associate that with idiots throwing bombs in malls, as you say, and there's not any particular coherence to that, even though people like Noam Chomsky call themselves anarchists. That's just not how the media portrays it. If you call yourself a liberal, people think that you're into big government programs. If people think if you're a conservative, then people think that you want government to restrict gay marriage or whatever. So we've really been crowded out at the discourse, which is why I simply say I'm a philosopher. There are certain conclusions that I accept as a result of the rational application of philosophy. So I try not to describe my conclusions because I don't want to be identified by the conclusions. Like if you're a biologist, you don't say, well, I'm a Darwinist, right? You just say, well, I accept certain theories of evolution that's scientifically valid or whatever. So you don't want to, I think I really try to avoid identifying myself by my conclusions, right? That I accept that a state and society is the only rational and consistent application of the non-aggression principle. There's no group of human beings that you can fence off and give virtually limitless power to and not have it turn out badly. I mean, that's just not a good idea at all. It's not how people organize neighborhood blocks. Like if they want to protect their neighborhood, they don't just give a tank and a bomber and an army to some guy on the street corner and say, well, you take care of it all, because they know that that's going to end up badly. So I try to avoid conclusions. What I try to do is to say, well, I'm a philosopher, I accept reason, I accept evidence, and therefore this is where it leads. And hopefully people will start thinking along those lines. But yeah, you're right, there's no word left that you can describe. If you say, what are you? As, I don't know, carbon-based life form is the best I can come up with. So you're right, the language has been really polluted, and that is a great challenge for people.
I mean, I find myself every day, I say I'm exposing the left-right paradigm, because if you can shatter that and show how they divide us from each other so that we can be played off against each other instead of going after the actual social engineers, those that seek to limit knowledge, those that seek to dumb us down so we're more easily managed. But then to even communicate with the general public, I have to use left-right paradigm terms to then even introduce them to new ideas. And again, I don't even claim to have that sophisticated of a worldview. I just know that the direction we're going in is absolutely destructive by any historical, common sense, philosophical perspective. Stefan, it was great talking to you. I look forward to talking to you again in the near future. Good to have you here with us as one of the first guests in 2011.
Thank you so much, Alex, and a very happy new year to you and to all of your guests. And let's make this the year where we gain real traction and begin to really turn this thing around in a powerful way. And it's really important that people act decisively and concertedly and intelligently, because if it's not us, who is it going to be? And if it's not now, when is it going to be? The time's running out. So thank you so much for the conversation. I really do appreciate it.
Stefan, great having you with us. As John Connor says, if you're listening to my voice, you are the resistance. Look in the mirror, folks. That's who's going to fix it. And Hollywood puts these archetypes in our minds that it's got to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger or, you know, some type of Atlas character, some type of, you know, all-powerful Hercules archetype that is going to vanquish the slathering Hydra. That's not how it works. It starts small, little steps, little things, but almost harmonically, just continuing to push forward, continuing. I mean, look how powerful it is if a woman keeps henpecking you, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's basically what it's like is billions of us just pecking, you know, death by a trillion cuts on the globalist. And what cuts them is pulling them down, not worshiping them, pointing out how ridiculous they are, pointing out how corrupt they are, pointing out how destructive they are, pointing out how much hypocrisy they have. And first it's just getting past your fear and not being in awe. You're a government, you know, person in a toilet attendant uniform. I will fall down and worship you. No, 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 no. You're some corporate chief. I'm not going to fall down and worship you. Okay. Now I wanted to get into economic news, and I got some really serious news that I've known has been going on for about a month, along with other censorship, but that I wasn't 100% sure of. But now we've done our own test. I've talked to family that saved it. I've talked to others, and the emails, I mean, just Jaron saw 2 this morning without even looking. I mean, they're just pouring into this office. And it deals with conspiracy theory with Jesse Ventura, and there's no doubt there's a new level. There's actually 3 levels of censorship. We've only covered 1 here. I want to cover the 2nd and 3rd layer of the cake. We kept saying, I can't believe this made it on air. I can't believe that. Well, it didn't, okay? It didn't. They're phasing it out. They've banned shows, and now it's gotten worse. And that shows you the truth is effective with the globalist. I think the globalists kind of arrogantly said, let it on. It's too late for them anyways. They don't care. But then they saw the top ratings. Well, I'll tell the whole story in the next segment. Then I got some other important news I want to cover, and I got an interesting video we're going to be playing here as well. But before we go any further, I played back at the start of the last hour George Soros from a year ago on the Financial Times of London website, a video interview, saying we got to get rid of the U.S. dollar slowly. We got to bring in global government. We got to bring in a global government currency. He talked about how that would be done, how China needs to be the owner of the U.S., and now they are the biggest owner of our debt. Next, the private Federal Reserve. I mean, you can see the method to their madness. And then it continues. China backs Spain to emerge from crisis. That's Sydney Morning Herald. China's now buying up Europe. Foreign banks are buying up Greece. It's all done through fraud. U.S. yield spread falls below the rest of the world. Now foreigners don't want U.S. corporations and U.S. government treasury notes. That's out of Bloomberg. Very serious developments. And sure enough, silver well above $30 an ounce. I wanted to bring Ted Anderson up with a silver update. We were unable to get Kaiser on Friday with phone problems. But we're going to get Kaiser on the next few days with a silver update. Ted, give us an update on silver hurtling towards an all-time record right now.
Well, it sure is, Alex. I mean, right now, silver's seen a peak today of $31.22 an ounce. Last time I was on the air with you, Alex, silver was 22 times more expensive, 22 times more expensive than silver was back when silver was used as money here in the United States. That only dates back to 1964, really the separation in 1971. Now we are 24 times as much money as it used to take when we had constitutional money here. It all reflects what's going on with the United States dollar and how fast it's falling. I mean, just today, the Fed stepped in and bought $7.79 billion more of U.S. Treasuries to help fill that mandate of $600 billion by June.
And to put that in layman's term, the Zimbabwean, Weimarian acceleration towards, you've seen 90+% devaluation in the dollar in the last 97 years. Now in the next year, you're going to see, you know, the final 10% run out.
Yep, and that's right, Alex. And you know what? You'd think that the U.S. that the Federal Reserve would buy it from the Treasury, but they're not. They're buying it through Goldman Sachs, and they're buying through J.P. Morgan.
Yeah, that way they get a profit. I mean, it's just total swindling.
It is. I mean, they're taking our money and they're just cheating us, and then they charge us interest, and they're just driving us right into the toilet. And the silver's reflecting it. It's obvious.
Well, Ted, let me stop you. Let me stop you. You bought a massive amount of silver when they drove it down to 27. How long till you run out of the silver halves and silver round 1 ounces? How long before you've got to go up to the $31 level?
Well, Alex, I can tell you what, I'm holding my prices till midnight tonight. I think one of the best buys out there is $2,415 for that survival bag of dimes. You know, we have small 1 ounce silver coins, everything. Alex, your videos right now still $97.
Yeah, you got 3 free videos, free shipping. when you pay $97 for 3 silver dollars. Do the math, folks. You're not going to get 3 silver dollars anywhere and get all that on top of it. It's $60 for free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. Stay there, Ted. I want to talk more about this.
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right.
Paul Watson and I just rushed out an article today that only has 15 or so examples of declassified U.S. government chemical biological testing on the American people. But I'm going to get Watson to add Project Shad that went into the 1990s, examples of U.S. and British troops being nerve gassed. There's a lot of other hardcore examples, especially now because the Drudge Report is linked to it in red. This is a great chance to educate people. We've also got Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, posted the full film for free at the bottom of it. So all these people that aren't aware of this can get informed. We do need to add a description, though, of Endgame as a history of government, lethal testing so that people know what they're about to see. So I'm trying to get a hold of Watson right now, so I'm intercomming him on the radio live so we can get some of that stuff added to it. In fact, send your mainstream news articles about declassified chemical and biological testing on people to showtips@infowars.com. I know there's thousands of them, and we'll just add a few dozen at the bottom of the article because this story is getting a lot of attention. Going back to Ted Anderson, then I'll get into conspiracy theory being censored and a lot of other news. Ted, talking to you here in the new year, I mean, look, I had Rolling Stone magazine here, and since they talked to George Norrie about me and he talked about it, I'll go ahead and talk about it now. But I wasn't going to talk about it until it actually got published, but whatever. They were here, and they were asking me, why do you promote gold? And I said, well, look, I've been promoting gold since it was $300 an ounce or less. I've been promoting silver since it was $5 an ounce, and look, it's gone up. I believe in it. I know it's a real commodity. I know that they're devaluing the currency. So it's only a matter of time till until these commodities go up. And so I still believe $31 an ounce for silver is low, $1,400 an ounce for gold is low. Now, we'll see who's right. But for 10 years, in fact, let's put on screen for folks. Matt found a really good one last week, 10-year gold chart. It's parabolic, and it's reaching that point where it goes straight up now. I mean, again, this is not brain surgery. This is not rocket science. This is common sense. And so that's why I feel really good promoting gold and silver, not just because it's a great store of wealth and a way to protect yourself from inflation, but also because Ted has the best prices out there. Ted, tell folks about your silver offers and gold offers today.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the best silver offer that we have, Alex, is $97, 3-year videos, 3 silver dollars shipped. At $97 total. I mean, that you just can't beat that. Would take credit cards for it. There's a whole long list of things. I mean, the Walking Liberty halves are at $14.82. Lakota Nations are at $39. There's a, the bags of silver, that survival bag of dimes, $2,400 and $15.84. Of course, we carry Engelhard bars, Johnson and Mathey. I mean, there's, if you want Silver Eagles, I mean, there's just a whole long list of things.
And you've always got the regular price set to the market that's great and very competitive, but the time machine is available in these radio specials on whatever you got at the lower price. Instead of going up, you hold that price. They get the time machine, their silver and gold purchase. That's what makes Midas Resources so special that nobody can top. Tell them you want to hear the radio specials to take advantage of that. 800-686-2237, 800-686